Right there. Did you get counted? Okay. All right, as you go to your new groups, everybody say your name. Everybody say what is your favorite season of the year? Summer, fall, spring, winter? Everybody say what is your favorite New Testament character besides Jesus? Or Paul. Okay, fine. Now, who are these people? Well, this is two up here. You got to get with your group. Up here. Jackson's. Your group 6. Front row. Perfect. Anybody else that comes in is in your group. That's group 6. All right, did we get to know each other a little bit? Hopefully we'll get to know each other a little bit better as we go. All right. Good evening. This is Elba Engaged Learning of the Bible with Application. I'm your host, Gabriel. My favorite season is winter. And my favorite character in the New Testament besides Jesus and Paul is Thomas. If you've not already done so, please scan the QR code and get into our presentation so we can answer questions together. I think everybody's been here, but we are entering in, that is going to be the topic, we are entering into the book of Joshua tonight. We have gone through in the first year of this, aka 2023, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. We're now entering the 6th book, which is Joshua. And we read chapters 1 through 6, even though I'm only going to cover 1 through 4 tonight. Okay. Questions for investigation? Here they go. Number 1. All of the following, by the way, if you didn't get into the presentation, you can go to minty.com and put in the 8-digit code at the top of the screen if you can see that. All of the following were instructions God gave Joshua except, we're talking about chapter 1 of the book. All of the following were instructions God gave Joshua except be strong and courageous, distribute the land God promised their ancestors, meditate on the book of the law day and night, and dip 7 times in the river Jordan. "24 people have responded. We are feeling good tonight." All right, here we go. 81% came up with dipping in the river Jordan. There is another story in the Bible where that's a command given or a suggestion given, but not in this one. So here we go. Keep going. All of the following are true of Rahab, except, this is chapter 2. She is a direct ancestor of Jesus. She recognized Yahweh as supreme among the gods. She obeyed the laws of Jericho without exception, and she was saved by faith and by works. Okay, 23 people say mostly answer C or answer 3, whatever. Most people think she did not obey the laws of Jericho without exception. Okay? Who led the way when Israel crossed the Jordan? Was it the Reubenites, the priests carrying the ark, Joshua himself, or the spies who had returned with the good report? $24 people. Very consistent tonight. This is good. All right. Pretty strong majority say the priests carrying the ark were the people, the first people to get across or to at least enter the Jordan. Technically, they were the first and the last. But anyway, how many stones were set up as a memorial for God's miraculous parting of the Jordan? Maybe that should say memorial to God's miraculous parting of the Jordan. How many stones? 3, 7, 12, or 40? Oh, 29 people. We're ready. Okay. About a third say 12, and the other third are mixed among the other 3 options. All right. So let's get into it. Book of Joshua, chapters 1 through 4. The topic is entering in. We finally get to go into the promised land. We're going to go from the east side of the Jordan River and cross that river and come into the land God promised to Israel. So I want to just begin by reading the first 9 verses or so of Joshua chapter 1. Let's kind of get a sense of what's happening here. Joshua chapter 1, the first 4 chapters, really each chapter kind of tells a little sub-story. These are 4 nice stories that we get here in the beginning. And this first story is really the mission of what it is they're going to do, a restatement of the mission in some cases. But basically, we're getting our marching orders here. So here we go. Joshua chapter 1, beginning in verse 1. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I am giving to them, the children of Israel. Confirmation of that promise we've talked about many times. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given you, as I said to Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, and the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you or forsake you. Now, I want you to pay attention to a few words I'm going to come back to. Verse 6, be strong and of good courage. For to this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Verse 8, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. for then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. That's the third time he said that in it. Do not be afraid. Do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Let's take a look at just a couple of little words and phrases in this passage. First is be strong and courageous. I looked up the words strong and courageous. The word strong means strong, and the word courageous means courageous. Okay. Word courageous also means alert and bold. Now, watch what happens the second time he says be strong and courageous. Verse 7, only be strong and courageous. In other words, all you got to do. That ain't much, is it? You don't have to do anything because I'm going to do it all. The only thing you have to do is be strong and courageous. Now, these principles apply directly to us. I mean, we could do application right here. Boom. In life, be strong and courageous. He's got it all taken care of. We don't do anything other than be strong and courageous and walk forward in what he says to do. Period. End of story. Okay? Next word to take a look at is prosper. Now, the word prosper means to bring to successful issue. In other words, to have success or to fulfill your purpose or your mission. If you will only be strong and courageous, you will prosper. In other words, I'll make sure that everything I've said you're supposed to do, you'll actually accomplish it. That's prosperous. Look at verse 8. The book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. Remember, Moses had written down the things that he had spoken before, and they were supposed to keep that by the ark. But he's telling Joshua, meditate on it day and night. Why? So you can know a lot of stuff in your head? No, so that you can actually observe it and do according to all that's written in it. We don't read the Bible just to get knowledge in our heads. We read the Bible so we can hear from our God words of what he wants us to do and other things too, but to grow in our relationship with him and observe everything that's written. If we don't go do it, then it doesn't help us very much to read it. Okay, last couple of words here in verse 9. Look at how it says, have I not commanded you? Have I not commanded? He's saying, be strong and courageous. Ain't I the one giving the orders? By the way, that was the proper use of the word ain't. I have a handout for that if anybody wants to. Okay. I'm the one giving the orders, God is saying. So why wouldn't you be strong and courageous? Why would you be nervous about anything? It's not like somebody else is calling the shots. In that case, you should be very nervous. But I'm the one giving the orders. And then finally, these words afraid and dismayed. The word afraid is to tremble or be terrified or feel dread. Don't be afraid. Don't tremble. Don't be terrified. Don't feel dread. Don't be dismayed. The word dismayed means broken. The opposite of broken is whole. W-H-O-L-E. What's wholeness? New Testament scholars. That's sozo. That's salvation. So don't be dismayed. It's kind of like saying the opposite of salvation. Hey, I'm with you. I am your salvation. I am your wholeness. So don't be broken. So that's the marching orders. That's where we're going here with the book of Joshua. At the end of chapter 1, we get Reuben and Gad and half of Manasseh. They're the ones that said, hey, we made a deal with Moses. We wanted this land on the east side. You remember that? And so they're saying to Joshua, hey, don't forget about that. He says, no, we're cool with that. We'll keep that because that was the deal that was struck with Moses. We're going to keep that. We're going to honor that. Okay, chapter 2. We get a new character called Rahab. Very important character, and we'll say more about her in the second look segment, but let's just go ahead and go through the basics here. I want to read verse 1. Joshua, the son of Nun, sent out 2 men from the acacia grove to spy secretly, saying, "Go, view the land, especially Jericho." So they went and came to the house of a harlot named Rahab and lodged there. So this woman Rahab in the city of Jericho is a harlot. She is a person who is not necessarily the most moral person. For our young people in the room, this is a woman that is not hasn't lived a life that's holy and good before God. Okay, that's what that means. And the spies come to the house of Rahab and lodged there. Well, this is likely this house is likely a brothel, because why would you just go to somebody's house and lodge there? It's not like you're calling up, "Oh, hey, we're going to Jericho. Let's stay at Rahab's house." They don't know this woman. So how would you be able to stay at this place? It's some place where people stay. Hello? So likely a brothel. Again, for the young people, that's basically like a hotel where people do things that they shouldn't do. It's not a good place. It's not a holy place that the Lord is pleased with. And so then the question becomes, okay, why did they go there? And I don't think that we can dismiss the option or the possibility that they went there to do what you do at a brothel. Certainly God has used people many times throughout the Bible in spite of sinful behavior. So that is one possibility. The text doesn't say. I like to think it's the opposite, that they didn't go there for that purpose, but that they went, and here would be a reason why they would go to a place like that. That kind of a place is a place where you can be anonymous, where your secrets can be kept. And so they're going there to avoid getting caught. That would be the kind of place you would go if you wanted to not get caught and be outed. But of course we know that they were found out. The king of Jericho is told that there's these fellas, these spies, and so he sends investigators out to Rahab. Rahab hides the spies, and she sends the investigator. She says they've already left. She sends them on a wild goose chase, and then she goes up to her roof where she has these fellas hidden, and she talks to them a little bit. We'll come back to this in the second look segment. She sends them out with a plan, an escape plan, an escape route, which is successful. She also strikes a deal with these fellas, and she says, when you guys come in, I'd like to kind of keep living. And so can we make an arrangement here? And so they say, yeah, hang this red rope from your window, and that will be the sign. We will not destroy the people of this house, including her relatives and so forth. But everybody has to stay inside the house. Now, it's been noted that the red rope is typology for Passover. Red rope in the window. We're going to pass over that house. There will be no destruction, but you better stay inside that house. If you come out and walk around the sidewalk, it's fair game. You're going to get destroyed. After 3 days of hiding, the spies report back to camp, and when they tell Joshua what's happened, he says that the Lord is with us. Going to chapter 3, which is our third little mini story. This is the actual crossing of the Jordan River. A few points to consider here. The Lord speaks to Joshua again, and he says, I'm with you just as I was with Moses. The things that I'm going to do over the next 24 hours plus, people will know that I, Yahweh, am with you, Joshua, just as I was with Moses. The instructions are kind of given for how they're to get across the Jordan River. And the first people and thing to cross is the Ark of the Covenant goes across first, being carried by the priests. The Lord says he will drive out the enemy of the land that they're going to possess. One other little point to note here, when the Jordan River was divided and the people crossed over, it says that the riverbed was dry. If the Bible says it was dry, I believe it was dry. Again, people try to kind of rationalize or naturalize these stories. Well, it could have been this or that. But, if some natural something happened to divert the water or something, well, it wouldn't have been dry. It would have been wet. So I think it's, well, I know it's a miracle of God for sure, but it's an intentional miracle of God. We don't need to try to explain it away. It's the miracles of God in the story of his people. All right, chapter 4 is where they build the memorial. So the people cross over the Jordan River. They're on the west side of the river. Now they're in the promised land. And they choose 12 stones from the Jordan River bed, and they set up a memorial to the Lord. One person from each tribe retrieves the stones. So these 12 stones represent the 12 tribes. Why did they do this? When future generations ask, what's this memorial? Well, it represents, or it's stones from the Jordan River. It reminds us of, that's what a memorial is, it reminds us of when the Lord did this miraculous thing and split the Jordan River so we could cross. That is the first 4 chapters of Joshua. Let's close this little part of our night tonight by reading the first verse of chapter 5. This is kind of the therefore of the first 4 chapters. When all the Amorite kings west of the Jordan and all the Canaanite kings who lived along the Mediterranean coast heard how the Lord had dried up the Jordan River so the people of Israel could cross, they lost heart and were paralyzed with fear because of them. And so now the stage is set that, we're going to knock heads and take names. We're about to go have some war, and we're about to possess this land that we've just entered into. All right? Cool. Exercise tonight, quite a bit different. Now that you just got your groups, we're going to do some calisthenics. Not quite, but we haven't done anything quite like this yet. Our exercise tonight is for us to reenact the story that we just heard. Okay? Everybody's going to do it. Okay? Now you might say, well, that's kind of, okay. But when you do it, when you go through the motions, you'll remember this. I guarantee you the kids will remember it a long time. So everybody's used to thinking of north as being the direction you're facing, right? So I'm north. This is going to be north. Okay? Which means, where is the Mediterranean Sea? Point to it. If I'm north, where is the Mediterranean Sea? To the left. That's correct. That's west. Everybody point to your left. That's west. Everybody point to your left. That's west. That's the Mediterranean Sea over there. Where's Egypt? Behind you. That's right. To the south. Okay. All right. So here's the way we're going to do this. The center section of chairs is the Jordan River. Center section of chairs is the Jordan River. Now, before we get started here, we need some volunteers. I need some characters here. We need a Joshua. Josh Crawford is going to be Joshua. Okay, now Joshua, where are you? Everybody tell Josh, where should he be right now? He should be on that side. That's right. So go get on that side, Joshua. All right, we need a Rahab. Come on, ladies, you can do it. Hey, Rahab is saved. Come on, Haley. Well, I almost gave it away. Where are you? Not quite. Where's Rahab supposed to be? This is the Jordan River right here. Yeah, that's right. Come back over here, right where go back where Joshua was. Go sit right there by John for a second. That's perfect. Okay, we need 2 spies. Bowden and Levy. Okay, the 2 spies, where are you? At the beginning of that's right. At the beginning, they're over here with Joshua because Joshua sends them, right? Okay, we need 2 investigators. In other words, there's probably more than 2, but we're going to have 2 for now. 2 people that the king of Jericho sends to Rahab. Who wants to be those people? Fox, okay, and Jude. All right, where should the spies be right now? Which is where? Yeah, over here with Haley. Over here with Haley. You're right there. Okay, let's have 2 priests. Now, there's more than 2 priests, I'm sure, but let's have 2 of them. Matt Jackson? Okay, one more. Doesn't matter. Rick, be a, what? Sheldon? Okay, Sheldon, be a priest. Okay, Matt Jackson and Sheldon are priests. Okay, where are they right now? Haven't crossed over yet, so you're over here. Okay? And then we need 12 memorial makers. We'll come back to that later. Okay, everybody else is Israel. Where are you? Everybody on this side. The only people that are on this side are Rahab and the 2 spies. Pastor Bud, you want to be the king? You can stay there if you're the king. All right, cool. You're the king of Jericho. All right. All right. Are we having fun yet? Oh. Okay, sounds good. All right, I'm going to actually open my Bible. Maybe we can get some details here. All right, what happens first? Yeah, well, God speaks to Joshua, okay, and Joshua speaks to the people. All right, this is what we're going to do. Yes, Joshua sends the spies to Jericho. Ready, go. All right, now, first of all, stop. How do you think the spies got there? Swimming, boating, something. I don't know. They had to cross the river, right? Okay. No, that's all right. So just go over to Jericho. Go on. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Right. Okay. Good. And who are you going to see right now? Yeah, that's right. Go hang out with her for a little bit. Okay. So the spies are there. All right. Now what happens next? You hide them? Yes. The king of Jericho sends Jude, Jude and Fox. Come over here with Pastor Bud for a second. The king of Jericho is going to send these spies. Now, I mean, not spies, but investigators. Okay. Now, there's probably more than 2, but okay. Go ahead and send them over, investigators. You're going to go investigate Rahab, please. Okay. And what do you say, Rahab? Okay, right. So, well, no, wait a minute now. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. You guys can, yeah, that's fine. You guys can go, yeah, that's good right there. Sit right there. That's perfect. Okay, so she sends them off. Now what happens? Spies come back to life. There's a conversation between Rahab and the spies, right? The deal was made. Yeah, you hear her? She said, remember me? That's right. Okay. And then what do you do with them? She lets them down the back of the sound booth. No, I'm just kidding. They'd go down the wall, the city wall, on a rope, okay, and escape. because the gates of the city have already been closed, okay? And where do you guys go when you go down the road? To the mountains where? Yes. They're west. Go over there to the left of Pastor Bud. Okay, so they're actually going away from Israel, right? Okay. And they're hiding in the hills. Okay, great. Until they come, well, yeah, that's right. So you guys go back with Haley. Okay, now spies, you're free. So you're no longer under danger. So now you got to get back over here. And who are you going to go see? You're going to go see Joshua, and you're going to report to him what? You're reporting to him that we spied it out, we're good to go, everything's cool. And also, this Rahab woman, we're not going to kill her. Right? Okay, now what? Josh, up. It's time to lead. Okay? Who are you? What are you going to do first? We're going to make a way here. This is going to be our crossing of the Jordan right here. What do you do first? The what? What? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What does he do first? The priest. Who are my priests? Right here. What are you going to tell the priest to do? Let's read that one. Let's read that one. Joshua told the people, consecrate yourselves. The Lord will do wonders among you tomorrow. Then he said to the priest, take the ark of the... Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're not... You're not... Yeah, well, that's true. But God made the way. God made the way wide enough. I'm quite sure. I was going to give you like a Bible or something to hold. This is going to take a while. Okay, so here's your crossing of the Jordan. Okay. Okay. Why don't you grab a Bible? That way you know. All right. So you guys come stand in the water. Now, how far do they stand? Let's get the story here. Today, the Lord spoke to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel. Okay. Joshua told the Israelites, come closer. Oh, here it is. Verse 8, command the priest carrying the Ark of the Covenant when you reach the edge of the waters. So all you do is you step into the water, boom, and step into the edge of the water, stand in the Jordan. Okay, so just kind of scoot over where people can get by you there. Okay? And again, there's more than two priests here doing this, okay, in real life. Okay, then Joshua told the Israelites, come closer and listen. You know that the living God is among you. He's going to just drive out all these ites. Yada, yada, yada. Choose 12 men from among the tribe. Now, here's the 12. Now, I don't know. 12 of y'all can just decide who you are, whatever. Okay? When the feet of the priests who carry the ark of the Lord come to rest in the Jordan's waters, its waters will be cut off. So, as soon as they step in that water, the water splits. Of course, we did that kind of out of order, but that's okay. All right? When the water flowing downstream will stand up in a mass. When the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carried the Ark of the Covenant ahead of the people. Jordan overflowed its banks. As soon as the priests carrying the ark reached the Jordan, their feet touched the water at its edge, and the water flowing stood still, rising in a mass that extended. Okay? The priest carrying the ark stood firmly on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan while all Israel crossed on, okay, go ahead, guys, crossed on dry ground until the entire nation had finished crossing the Jordan. Over here to this side. And y'all can just, Y'all can just hang out in the aisle, okay? Hang out in the aisle because there won't be, because you're not to Jericho yet. You're just on the other side, all right? After the entire nation had finished crossing, the Lord spoke to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people, take each tribe. So as soon as we get across, let's have 12 people come get a stone. We'll pick up an invisible stone and go over there and stack them. Okay, 12 people grab a stone real quick. That was good. Okay. Okay, 12 people, pretend like you just grabbed a stone. Ready to go? Okay, stack them right there where Jacob is. Stack them right there. 12 stones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Okay, priests, go away. Back, continue crossing. As soon as the priests come out of the riverbed, what happens? The water comes back together. All right, that's the story. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you. All right. You got all the pieces to the puzzle in your mind, don't you? Makes sense, right? All right. Where's the Mediterranean Sea? On the other side. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Where is Joshua? Okay. Joshua got tired. Okay. All right. In the second look segment tonight, I want to take a closer look at this character, Rahab. Rahab is, on the surface, a very insignificant person, but in reality, she is a very important character for a lot of reasons, a variety of reasons, and we want to look at that a little bit tonight. So, first of all, I said on the surface, she seems insignificant. I mean, this is a person of ill repute. This is somebody from a low position in a pagan Gentile society. For this person to be elevated in the Bible to some kind of a status, it's almost like the Good Samaritan. You know, it's like the people reading the story, that they would not have felt warm fuzzies about this person. And yet she becomes a critical person in the grand narrative of the Bible. Rahab is one of only 2 characters in the passage that is named. The other one being Joshua. Okay? The king of Jericho is not named. The spies are not named. You know, the investigators are not named. But Rahab is named. Not only is she named, but her name comes back later in the Bible in many, we're going to see it in just a second, in many extraordinary ways. Okay. There's another reason why Rahab is important, and it's because when I read this and I read what's to come, I almost like God is putting a spotlight on Rahab. He is drawing our attention to her and pointing to her as an example. Look at this. Look at this. And here's why. What's about to come in the book of Joshua is the eradication and annihilation of people groups. This is a part of the Bible that is very difficult for the world to handle, for the world to understand, and for a lot of Christians to understand. How could a God do this? How could a good God do the things that we're about to see in the book of Joshua? How is he going to say to Israel, annihilate these people? Now, we've talked about this a few times already. Okay? but I just want to bring it up again here because I think it's tied in with this character Rahab. First of all, there is a long line of, we've seen it over the last year in Elba. We've seen this long line of God having patience with people that he has no business having patience with, but he has patience with them anyway. And also having a merciful salvation experience for certain people. Namely good people, people that are his people. Okay? It began with Noah, where God, first of all, gave 100 years for the people whose iniquity was awful to repent, and they did not. But he wiped out the entire planet population with the flood except for 8 people. So Noah and his family were the only ones saved. He wiped everybody out. He did that already. I mean, on a grand scale. Why? Because they weren't good. And they weren't going to be good. And they were not going to repent. And so he saved the 8 people that looked to him. The next example is Lot. First of all, you have Abraham's deal that he struck with God. Hey, would you save this town for Sodom and Gomorrah? Would you save this town, Sodom, for 50 righteous people? Yeah. 45? Yeah. 40? Yeah. What about 10? Yeah, if you can find 10 righteous people, I'll save it. Well, he couldn't. There were fewer than 10 people in the entire city who were righteous. That's why God leveled the city. It's been said several times. God does not annihilate an entire people group because of sin. Pastor Jeff said this just a few weeks ago. He annihilates an entire people group because there's no one righteous there. Well, there were a few people in Lot's time who were righteous, sort of. And that was Lot and his family. And so God sent 2 angels to rescue 4 people. And he destroyed the rest. God waited 400 years, his own people in slavery, before he brought them back into the promised land. Why? Because the iniquity of the Amorites was not yet full. He gave the Amorites 400 years patience because God is not willing that any should perish. He is not quick to wrath. But at the end of the day, he's going to judge when it's the right time. And now we have this character, Rahab. And when I read this, I feel like God, again, is spotlight and pointing a finger and saying to us and to the world, how could you possibly say, is this God just? How could you possibly, have you not read my track record? All these times when I destroyed all these people, I saved the ones who were good. And now you get this person, Rahab, who is she has not lived a good life. She's not lived a holy life. She's not Israel. She's pagan Gentile. And yet, God saves her and her family. Why? That's right. By faith and by works, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Let me give you a little bit more here before we get to that. So I believe there are 2 reasons, not an either or, but a both and. There are 2 reasons why God annihilates these people groups, okay? One is that what I was just talking about, that they're thoroughly bad. There was no one righteous. There was no one who would come to faith. So in every case, even among the Gentiles, where people come to faith, God spared his wrath without exception. Let me say that again. In every case, even among Gentiles, where people came to faith, God spared his wrath without exception. He only wipes out an entire people when they are 100% bad. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, and they go together. It's not an either or. There's both of these things happening. People are completely bad, the people group. There's no one righteous there. And the other reason is there are giants in the land. Recall our discussion of Genesis 6. Here's what it says in Genesis 6. The Nephilim were on the earth. This is during the time right before the flood. The Nephilim were on the earth both in those days and afterward. And we know that the Nephilim came back in numbers. So the Nephilim were there before the flood, and the Nephilim were there after the flood in the book of Numbers. They're there in the promised land. There are these Nephilim, these giants. Again, Genesis chapter 6, the Nephilim were on the earth both in those days and afterward when the sons of God came to the daughters of mankind who bore them children. When the Lord saw that human wickedness was widespread on the earth and that every inclination of the human mind was nothing but evil all the time, the Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and he was deeply grieved. Then the Lord said, I will wipe mankind whom I created off the face of the earth. But I'm going to save these 8 over here, Noah and his family. Well, in this land, in this promised land that the children of Israel has just crossed over into, the Nephilim are there. And they are the product of the sons of God getting together with the daughters of man. This is a perverted demon-human species. In other words, they're not human. And therefore, they are irredeemable. And the Lord says, I am going to wipe them off the face of this portion of the earth, just like I wiped them off the face of the whole earth in Noah's day, to make room for my people in this land. Now, that is a pause for a commercial for Pastor Jeff's upcoming study on Sunday nights. You will want to be here on Sunday nights beginning on the 21st as Pastor Jeff begins to talk about many of the parts of the Bible that nobody ever teaches, primarily because they don't understand it. You will not hear from most pulpits the things that Pastor Jeff is going to share. It's nothing weird. It's nothing fruity. It's just all those parts of the Bible that you just didn't even realize were there because you just zoom right over it. Like this passage, the sons of God in Genesis 6. What's that all about? Pastor Jeff's going to explain that stuff on the Sunday night series. It is really cool, and you're going to want to be a part of it. All right, so, and he didn't ask me to say that. Don't get caught up in the whole, oh, God is mean and unjust. How could he do this? Don't get caught up in that. If anyone was worth saving, he would save them. And his track record proves it, culminating in Rahab. So, what does Rahab actually say here? Beginning verse 8 of chapter 2. Before the spies went to sleep that night, Rahab went up to the roof to talk with them. Watch this. I know the Lord has given you this land, she told him. We are all afraid of you. Everyone in the land is living in terror, for we have heard how the Lord made a dry path for you through the Red Sea. That was 40 years ago. They remembered that. When you left Egypt, and we know that what you did to Sihon and Og, that was 40 days ago, or so, whatever. It was recent. The 2 Amorite kings east of the Jordan River, whose people you completely destroyed. No wonder our hearts have melted in fear. No one has the courage to fight after hearing such things. Watch this. This is Rahab talking. For Yahweh, your God, is the supreme God of the heavens above and the earth below. That is a statement of faith. And then she put her actions where her mouth was. In other words, she worked her faith out by saving the spies. And so she was saved by faith and by works, it says in the Bible. Take a look at Hebrews chapter 11, verse 31. It says, by the way, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 31, we're talking about the what? The hall of faith, quote unquote. The chapter of here are all the big dogs who have been the giants of the faith. Here are the people. This is the who's who of the Bible. by faith, the harlot Rahab did not perish with those who did not believe when she had received the spies with peace. She gets mentioned in the hall of faith, Hebrews 11, right alongside Abraham and all those other cats, because of faith. James 2:25 says this, likewise, was not Rahab the harlot also justified by works when she received the messengers and sent them out another way? Quote-unquote evangelicals don't like to hear about justified by works, but it's right there in the Bible. James would not be an evangelical. He would be really upset by people who try to give a message that we just only believe that Jesus did this thing and we go right along doing all the same stuff we used to do before. No. We believe in Jesus to empower us, to make us new creations. How could we go on in sin? How could we go on living the old way? We're going to put to death all the old things that we used to do that are not right, and we're going to adopt and put on all the new things that we're supposed to be doing. That is to say, born out of the fruit of the Spirit. So we are justified by faith, and it is a faith that results in works. Can I get an amen to that? Because if you don't amen that, we got bigger fish to fry here, okay? In the end, Rahab is listed in Matthew chapter 1, verse 5. What happens in Matthew chapter 1? The genealogy of Jesus. Chapter 1, verse 5 of Matthew. Rahab is listed as the mother of whom? Boaz. Several generations before Jesus. Pretty cool. Pretty cool for this character who started off, what's the word, inauspicious. I suppose her ending was auspicious. I think she's in heaven right now. I have no reason to think otherwise. I don't know how she could be in the hall of faith and that not be the case. So, yay, Rahab. All right. Personal practical application. Changing gears totally, but this is an important concept as well, a theological concept. We've talked about it before. As we noted in Exodus chapter 14, that was the Red Sea crossing. The crossing of the Jordan parallels the New Testament concept of glorification. The crossing of the Red Sea paralleled salvation. The wilderness maps to sanctification. So crossing the Red Sea, I'm saved. Going through the wilderness, I'm sanctified. Going back across the Jordan, glorification. Salvation, sanctification, glorification. Take some time in your groups to discuss the concept of glorification. When I say glorification, by the way, what do I mean by that? In the end of our journey, our progress and process of this Christian walk, when we meet Jesus face to face, we will be glorified. We will have glorified bodies, etc., etc. What specific elements of the Joshua account, the crossing of the Jordan, have analogies in the concept of glorification? Try talking about that a little bit in your group as we close.